Right now, breaking news here. Stocks all around the world are tanking because of the crisis on Wall Street.
At one point, the market fell as if down a well over 700 points. And with late day trading here, we're at 689. These numbers, as we said, are still changeable. We could see a close, conceivably, 700 or larger.
We're waking up to 2 fewer investment banks on Wall Street. Lehman Brothers has filed for bankruptcy, and Bank of America is taking over Merrill Lynch in a $50 billion deal.
NBC News right now is confirming that Democratic leaders in Congress have agreed on a short-term rescue plan for the big 3 automakers. Apparently, we are still going to have an auto manufacturing business in the United States.
All segments of society are falling victims to foreclosure. And as average Americans continue to suffer, Wall Street plays an elusive role, one that has poured hundreds of millions of dollars into lobbying here in Washington, D.C.
Right now, in the year 2011, one of the top issues President Barack Obama is faced with is a decline in the economy. The United States is recovering from an economic recession. People are losing their homes, jobs are being cut, and businesses are closing. What is the cause of all this distress?
We experienced a pretty significant recession. It officially ended in July of 2009. And between the first quarter of 2007 and the first quarter of 2009, we actually saw a decrease in net worth of families by $17.5 trillion. That's 26.5%. So to put that in some perspective, the GDP of the United States was only $14.7 trillion for all of 2010. So the net worth of families fell, again, by $17.5 trillion. So what happens to you? You know, if you lose your money, what happens? You don't spend. And so that's what happened, is that then spending went down, and if consumers aren't spending, then businesses aren't selling, and if businesses aren't selling, then they have to lay people off, and when they lay people off, incomes go down even more, and you get into a downward spiral. So the question is, why did their net worth fall by so much? Well, for Americans who have an income of less than $100,000, most of their net worth is in their house. And when the housing bubble burst, that meant that that house that I thought was worth $250,000, now it's only worth maybe $200,000 or $175,000. And so for people who viewed their houses as their nest egg, it meant that they then stopped spending and they started to save more because they could no longer count on the value of their house to support them in retirement or to take that home equity loan. So that is really what touched off the current crisis, is that decline in housing values.
Today's bad economy, I think, is the result of kind of the excessive greed like we experienced during the 1920s. Despite the fact that we have more government regulations on banking and stock market, some of the early problems started with banks being really irresponsible with their wealth and their investments, and the way basically making money off of things that don't exist, new forms of stocks and derivatives and things like that. And I think it wasn't also helped by the fact that we've been in war and we lost whatever kind of cushion we had should things go wrong. That tons of money was spent fighting wars that we can't afford, and so when things went wrong, there was not much to fall back on.
Lost in the shuffle of this economy are college students. Since the students in college are the next generation of people that will be affected most by the upcoming legislative efforts and decisions, how will this affect them?
The trouble economy is affecting me mostly because I'm a commuter, so I have to drive back and forth to college. It's about a 45-minute drive, and it's pretty hard on the gas, and gas prices has gone up, so it's definitely affecting my pocket. It's hurting.
To me, it really hasn't affected me like that. I still get everything that I want, all my needs are met, all my supplies. I mean, I have everything I want. The economy really hasn't affected me directly. Just maybe it's a little bit harder to find a job, because you're competing with so many other people that don't have jobs. But other than that, really hasn't affected me like that.
It hasn't really affected me directly because I'm still a student, so I'm not really out there paying bills or on the workforce, anything like that. So I don't really feel as though the economy has directly affected me.
Really not. It hasn't affected me yet, but I know it will down the future.
Although not all students would say they're affected, there are different ways students can be affected.
Recessions affect young adults just like, everybody else. The last bad recession we were in was when I got out of college, some 3,000 years ago, back in the 1970s and 80s. And at the time I remember everyone saying, oh, you'll never get a job and it'll be terrible, but, and it was hard. But I think recessions affect college students much like everybody else. I think one good thing is that college students can continue to educate themselves if they can afford to stay in school and learn more and kind of when they go into the job market have more skills that they might actually do better than they might have otherwise if they charged off in a great economy and thought that, oh, I'm going to get a job, I don't want to do more.
As young adults have been affected adversely by the economy, has this leaked over into their academic pursuits?
It seems like you go to college to better yourself, to make more money, but in the end it seems like all that money that you take out for loans and stuff like that, you're going to be working all your life. And I heard how Social Security just keeps getting higher and higher, so I'm going to be working until I'm like 70. And I don't want to do that. So I think, it really it makes you think maybe I shouldn't go to school for what I really want to go to because you might not make no money in it, but maybe go to school for something that I know is going to make a lot of money, like nursing, but it's really not your passion. So it definitely has messed with, what you said about my academic endeavors. The economy has definitely put a damper on that.
Not really, because as a student, when you go to apply for a job, the last thing that employer has to look at is your education. So if they see that you kind of just blew away your education, just got by on it, they won't really take you seriously.
College is no guarantee of a job, but you're going to be really hurt if you don't. For this most recent recession, those students with less than a high school degree, their unemployment rate was above 9% for 31 months. And the highest rate of unemployment during this most recent recession was 15.7%. And February 2011, the unemployment rate was 13.9% if you have less than a high school degree. If you're a high school grad, the unemployment rate, it was 24 months of unemployment above 9%. The high was 11.2, and the current rate is 9.5, so it gets better. If you have some college, then the rate of unemployment only went above 9% for 1 month. Unemployment was the highest unemployment rate was 9.1, and today it's 7.8. If you have college or higher, then it never went above 9% for you. The highest rate was 5.1%, and last month it was 4.3%. So again, college is no guarantee that you're going to find the job, but it certainly increases your chances of finding and keeping that job. So yeah, I would say you definitely need a college degree in this climate.
Since the current job market has limitations on the types of jobs available, do students change their plans based on this notion?
I mean, I definitely thought about it. I was thinking about doing social work because I looked and seen that the outlook for social working is going to be really big in the future versus what I'm into, what I'm doing now. But I feel as though, if it's something that you like to do, forget the economy, forget all that other stuff. Some way, a way or a door will open for you because it's what you want to do. It may take a little bit longer, maybe harder because, but still, if it's something you really want to do, I think you should just stick with it. Don't even worry about the economy and stuff like that, because things could change.
No, I'll stick with what I wanted to do because it actually encouraged me to go forth with that career, because I know in the law enforcement or law particularly, there's always a demand. It's just like the nursing field. People always get in trouble. Someone always needs a law that needs, to be shifted in some way to take care of them. So, I mean, if anything, it kind of encouraged me.
Industries with the fastest growing and most rapidly declining wage and salary employment projected through 2018. So management, scientific, and technical consulting services, they're expecting employment to grow by 6.2%. Educational services, healthcare. So education, healthcare, scientific endeavors, those are all looking at a lot of growth through 2018. And on the downside, the ones that are expected to lose the most are anything in the textile industry, because of course that's going to be done increasingly overseas. So anything in textile, some manufacturing. So again, the things that can be mechanized are, where the technology is known, it's mature, it's probably going to be done in lower wage, lower labor cost countries.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2010, almost 2.1 million college graduates were unemployed. How do students respond to the idea that college grads have a tough time getting jobs upon graduation?
I do believe the economy is affecting me. For example, I know a friend who has graduated from the university with a degree, but there aren't that many job offerings, so they have to find a different way to find some income. So, but it's not in their major, so it has affected them. So I'm pretty sure, hopefully, it won't affect me in the next years when I graduate.
Absolutely not. They're looking for young college students, particularly the black ones. So I got a good chance.
If the economy is still bad when we get out of here, then you have to switch course that way. But time will tell. We gotta see. We can't tell the future, so we gotta see.
Be patient. Don't expect to hit it big when you go out there. And I think probably the best advice is to take every experience you have and see whether it seems appropriate or whether it seems like it has anything to do with what your major interest in or where you think you're going. Take every experience you have as part of the process of learning. I had a lot of careers before I figured out this was the one for me, but every job I had, whether it had anything to do with teaching or nothing to do, they all helped me become the teacher I am today. And I think that's true of everybody. So I think people shouldn't get frustrated and think, oh my God, I got a college degree, I have debt, I have to get a job doing this. And if they can't, that it's all been a waste. I think you just have to be patient, do the best you can in everything you do, and take it as an opportunity to learn. You might discover you're actually meant for something completely different than you originally planned on. But it's all useful. It's all useful.
To definitely stay versatile, try to do stuff right now that will set me apart from every other mass comm, print journalism major. Hone in on my craft, do internships, learn a second language, just things that would diversify me in a job pool of a whole bunch of other people. I just want to be set aside and looked at being different.
Well, I'm preparing now. I'm looking up my internships so that I have a lot of experiences, and also keep my grades higher. So if I get my experience up, grades up, everything will be easy for me at the end.
Internships, man. Internships, definitely. Internships. Every employer that I've spoken to so far, they want to see what you've done. And it's really surprising because a lot of these people don't have experience in their field as far as career paths. So definitely internships is something I would definitely recommend, because if you get a little bit of, even if it's just getting coffee for a company or running errands, whatever it is, at least you have that title on your resume that says that, hey, I've had some kind of responsibility. It'll show your employer that you're looking for that you've had some kind of responsibility and you're able to take action. That's what you're trying to do.
Definitely try and get involved in clubs so I can have a better resume, build my resume up, have more, so I can be more competitive out in the job field, because I know they're looking for the best of the best out there.
My advice would be get as much education as you can, love what you do, and network, and do internships. Even though you might not get paid for the internship, the experience and the contacts that you get doing that internship could be worth their weight in gold. All the jobs I've gotten have been by going in, showing my face, and not just sending out resumes cold. So I would say definitely get an education. You have to like what you do, and you have to network.
Yeah, I think we're struggling forward. I mean, it kind of feels like every time you think that things are starting to move, just 2 weeks ago we started hearing that, unemployment numbers are really, dropping significantly, that people are noticing people are starting to hire, we're starting to produce more goods. But then we have disasters like Japan and things just, and unrest in the Middle East, and it really makes you realize how tied we are. Uprising in Libya has completely messed up our gas prices, which messes up people's ability to get jobs here. So it feels like, I do think we're on the right road. I think we've been on the right road since this president came in, and that he's doing the best he can. I've become increasingly aware of how intertwined we are with the whole world. And so even though we might be doing everything we think we can to make things move forward, we can't control an earthquake in Japan or a revolution in Libya. But I think we're definitely going in the right direction, and I think we have for 2 years now. So I'm optimistic. So.
As America heads into an uncertain economic future, the prospect of graduating college without gaining employment is a scary one. But there are things that can be done to help. Research indicates that college enrollment numbers are increasing. Although we may not know when the economy will turn around, success in these economic conditions are certainly possible.